Okay. We went 2 seconds. So let's see if we can go to 4.
Maybe wait. You guys don't like my intro, so.
It's recording right now. It's been for 10 seconds now.
Oh, welcome to the Friday Project.
dear God.
My name is Sarah. Hello, I'm new, I guess. I'm here though. Hello.
All of you but Mitchell and I are new. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Really?
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm Sarah. Hi. Nice to meet you.
All right. Now below Sarah we have. Go on.
You're saying I should introduce myself?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Should I use my first name or my last name?
No
We don't
one
care.
cares.
That
Shut up, Nathan. No one asked you.
I forgot Nathan was there.
You will be referred to as Hoppy, so just introduce
Anyway,
yourself as.
I'm Hoppy. I'm the neckbeard without the neckbeard.
Wow.
What?
What?
All right, just keep going. Just keep going.
I'm
Roll with it.
and ignoring him. I'm
Fuck
Elliot. Nice to meet you.
Fuck you, Elliot.
Hello, Elliot.
El-
Nice to meet you.
I was gonna say
Elliot is
not
All
nice
right,
words.
and
Never forget that.
yeah, that makes you really excited, doesn't it? All right.
This is going great.
And as always, we have myself and
Yeah.
Gary here.
If you can't remember who we are, then go back to the first one. I'm not doing it again.
It's an anthology series. You can...
It's not chronological in any way, but I'm not going back and doing it again. So
Yeah.
It's rewind time.
it's
You
there
can
if you
rewind
want
to
it.
That's not.
All right.
That's,
But
We're-
while we're here, so guys, who here likes Legos?
Oh, I love Legos.
Legos?
And
Yeah, I have
who
a
here-
giant box of unused of them. Under
I
the-
have
Talking about my brother.
3 giant bins under my bed right now.
Well, I have a mom, so
And,
get fucked.
Ow!
And who here likes Star Wars?
Star Wars is pretty cool.
yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
I
new
see
Lego
the new
Star
one.
Wars game. That was a
That's what I was
very
trying to do, but,
prolonged
you know.
segue, so we're just gonna jump into it.
Such a shit segue.
Well, Hoppy, maybe
All
if
right.
you wouldn't,
Alright, so Lego
Hoppy, if
Star
you wouldn't
Wars
mention
game.
adoption every 30 seconds.
Most of time
Lego-
it's Sarah, don't give me that.
The Lego,
Don't attack
the Lego Star Wars game.
It's just a
The I'm restarting every time you talk. Have you not noticed, you baboon? All right.
The Lego.
The Lego.
God damn it,
Lego.
I'm getting another call from Chicago. I'm going to fucking CDC again.
Anyway, Lego Star
Oh.
Wars. Continue.
The Lego Star Wars game that's coming out that I believe has the previous 3 Lego Star Wars games in it.
Mhm.
They just gonna...
They
It's
put them all
Lego.
together.
And
Yeah,
it's
you've
Star
got
Wars.
the Lego Star Wars Original Saga, and then Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, and then Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars, which was a real good time.
I do have a question though. So is it just they're taking all the games and putting it into one thing?
Yeah,
Or is it
yeah,
just
and I believe
completely
they might be
better
remastering.
graphics?
They might be
Yeah.
remastering the first.
Think of
games.
it like the Master Chief collection.
She
Okay,
doesn't know what
yeah.
that is.
She knows
I do
Yeah,
know
but
what
Oh,
that
you do
is.
know what that is?
Something about Halo?
Yeah.
Yes, Halo. I have a picture of the
played it
Master
with
Chief
Sam.
on my wall.
Oh,
And he kept
Sam.
shooting me.
Talk about Sam. Please
Did
don't
you just say?
Sam.
out of the
Are
way.
you like? Hold up. Can we? Are you saying that you're playing Halo and you don't expect to get shot at? Because that whole part about
Sorry, I just
that
got back.
I
I
was
just heard
just
you
being
expect to get shot at.
she said I was playing with Sam and he kept shooting at me. What else is he supposed to do?
Well, I
Hello?
was exceptionally bad at it.
It's a first-person shooter. First-person shooter.
Okay, all right.
Don't need to yell into
I
your
will
mic.
explain
This
myself.
is a podcast.
Listen, can I explain myself real quick?
Getting closer to the
No,
mic
I
does
was
not equal
exceptionally
comedy.
bad to because A,
Loud
I
is
don't
funny.
play- Are you guys listening?
You're a woman, of course we're not.
Mitchell, you
I can't laugh at that. I can't laugh at that.
Anyway, so I'm used to playing on PlayStation, but I was playing with an Xbox controller, which isn't that bad. It's just an adjustment.
Yeah, no, I
Oh
get you.
no, you have
He
to
plays
move
with-
your left thumb slightly.
I was
Who
about to say
knows?
there's literally no difference.
No, there is
but
a
that-
difference.
No, no.
Barely.
There isn't.
Barely.
Guys, I promise. Listen, there's a
Okay.
point. And Sam binds all of his stuff really weirdly. Like
Oh,
his
okay.
crouch
So it's
was
a control
literally,
binding.
Like so weird. It was bad. It was so bad.
Maybe. Wait. Which Halo were you playing?
Potter
the
Puppet
first
Pals.
The first one? Oh, that's why. It's not mapped weird. That's just the controls were
Yeah, it's
super
just how
weird
the
back
game
then.
comes. Yeah,
Well,
like, Halo
The
doesn't use
first
Call
time-
of Duty controls.
The first
yeah.
time they implemented something that relatively resembled Call of Duty was in Halo 4, and the thing was called Fish Stick. That was the
Mhm.
exact control
It
scheme.
was. Yep.
And then Halo 5 went full. They went full Call of Duty-esque
Yeah.
control
I
scheme.
played Reach a lot with my brothers.
Reach is the
especially in Forge.
bomb.
We played Forge.
I
a
don't
lot.
think you should say bomb.
We're not in an airport.
Too late now.
it's
I already
it's
said
been
no.
said
I'm
twice.
in a
Better.
college. If I just go around talking about
No,
bombing
I
in
just.
college,
I mean, it's
that's a
too
bad
late now because
idea.
I've already said
It's
it.
4 times
Rainbow
now.
Naughty.
You know what I could talk about though? Hang gliders.
No.
No.
Hang gliding in its own right is quite fun, although I've never been. But we're not gonna
If you
talk
do,
about that anymore.
Then you must leave.
You know, someday I do want to go hang gliding. Maybe
I
in
do
New
too.
York or something. It sounds like a good idea.
I'm kicking you if you keep talking. All right.
Anyway.
So I don't know if any of you guys played the Ori games, or I think it's
Nah.
called Ori. It's a very fun game. I enjoyed the tad bit that I played. I think
I've
it's
never
on
heard
Game
of it
Pass.
before.
Oh,
It's-
you know what? Never. I have heard of it. It's
it
Isn't
was
it like a platformer?
it's like a side scroller.
Yeah.
Ori and the Forgotten Forest, I think it was. Ori
Wait,
and the
so-
Blind Forest. I think was voted one of the. It's got a 10 out of 10 on Steam.
Wow. Yeah.
It's got like really really high like reviews. I think it was up for best game of the year. And
Yeah, but
I think
then
it
people
won.
voted for Fortnite at the Golden Joysticks, and that's why we shouldn't let people under 18 vote.
It is true.
It won it was nominated for best original game. It was nominated for best visual design, and it was nominated for best game of the year. It won best audio, and it won the Xbox Game of the Year in the Golden Joystick Awards. In the Game Awards of 2015, it won best art direction. And it was a very very good game. And now they're coming out with a second one.
Do you just know all this, or are you reading this off a list somewhere?
I read that off of Wikipedia.
I was gonna say.
But no. I knew it won a bunch of stuff. I just didn't remember what it won.
Yeah, like the exact stuff.
Yeah. So I guess the next one, Minecraft Dungeons. That's a new one.
I'm actually really excited for this because I
Other
like
thing-
RPG games like
yeah.
this, and I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with the Minecraft.
So
Right.
what exactly is it for people like me who have like 0 brain cells and know
What,
what
who
the
have their
Oh
head
my
up
god,
their
Hobby,
ass?
me too.
Well.
High five. Woo!
Smacked my laptop. That wasn't a good idea.
Idiot.
All right.
Anyway, continue.
Moving on.
Anyway, dungeons. What's up with that?
So I'm pulling up the webpage from Minecraft itself.
So
Okay, give him a. So we have to
It's
figure out
an
how to do this.
it's an all new action adventure game inspired by a classic dungeon crawler.
so Diablo.
It could be Diablo or Torchlight. Those
Well,
are
I
two
only
of the
know the
very
first
basic
one,
ones.
so
It's
I
Doblio.
don't know any of them.
Diablo. Okay,
It's Doblio.
Mhm.
It's coming out on Switch.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just an interesting take. They went Minecraft Earth, which was the Pokemon Go of Minecraft, which
oh,
I
yeah,
played.
I forgot.
I played that a little. It was very like it was like popular as in like it was in the media for about a month and a half, and then it fell off the face of the earth. I forgot it even existed, honestly.
It's in my games folder on my
Why
phone.
am I
I completely
subscribed
forgot.
to this person?
And then yeah, I played it for a little bit, and then I quit playing it because I felt like it was really dumb, and I still prefer basic Minecraft. And I probably will always prefer normal Minecraft over
Yeah.
anything else.
Well, what about like modded Minecraft? Like really
Not
good
even
modded
that.
Minecraft?
I always prefer vanilla.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
real. I don't enjoy playing Minecraft that much.
Well, you can have your opinions, even if they're freaking wrong.
I don't know. Like every time I try to get into it, like I wasn't playing Minecraft when the big Minecraft hype was there back in
Yeah.
middle school. You know, I wasn't playing
Oh.
Minecraft because
I
I was the kid
I
with a Wii
was.
U and a flip phone. Okay, like I wasn't.
Oh, I
Yeah.
played it on the school
Who
computers.
the
I just
hell
bought
had
an
a Wii
account.
U? Nobody had
I
a
have
Wii
a
U.
Wii U.
Me, I was
Well,
really
your
into
dad
Smash 4.
Practically
so.
poops out monies.
I have a Wii.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna try.
I
to
have
play
a
it.
wiener.
I have a
You know what? Speaking of that, that's a good segue to say that this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend.
No, no, no! This is not. I'm not that cool yet. All right.
Not
No, you don't need to be
sponsored.
that cool to get sponsored.
This isn't
It's just
sponsored!
Send an email to them, and then they
It's
go,
not
yeah,
sponsored.
Yo, I will send an email to Raid Shadow Legends.
Do
right
not
now.
stop talking about Raid. This isn't free Apple advertising.
What's
I
this?
haven't played Raid
Shadow?
Shadow Legends.
Stop talking.
I'm just saying I haven't. There's no
Stop.
road-
Stop saying their name.
They who shall not be named.
All right.
Baltimore.
Phoenix Point. I
Phoenix
really
Point,
don't
I
know
haven't visited.
anything about Phoenix Point, but if you say it's like XComp, I played that a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I've actually watched quite a bit of it, and I had a chance to play it on some other people.
Hello? Did I lag out? Oh my gosh. Oh, I hate this so much.
The bases are
Okay,
randomly generated.
hold up,
and
hold up,
they're-
hold up. Roll that back. I totally lagged out.
Gary, just listen to the
Right.
podcast. when it
Okay.
comes out.
So Phoenix
It's
Point
rewind
is
time.
based off of the original XCOM, mostly because one of the original creators of that XCOM said, "Hey, I like this style. You guys are going another way. I'm gonna ditch you and go my own way." And so he spent all that time making Phoenix Point. So bases are in countries. A plague has overtaken the world, which is apparently sent by aliens because they viewed us as a threat when early age in the war. And then the chimera virus is what they call it. It brainwashes people, makes them go into sea, kills them, uses their body DNA to make evolutions, which you fight against. And every time you fight, it changes the enemies. So if, like, for instance, they send out an enemy that has a gun for an arm, and you're struggling against that, and you take a really long time to complete the mission, they'll send more of those out because they know you won't do well against it and that sort of thing. So it involves
alright.
the AI and the other base.
Okay.
There's a constant threat of the mist, which can consume bases and shut them down permanently. You have colonies and factions that you have to converse with. Like if you go down the New Jericho one, you get really advanced technological armaments and like grenades, better ships, and other stuff like that. If you go down the cultist one, which is what I'm calling them because I can't remember their name, you get body mutations. You have a chance to actually switch the chimera foes to your side and fight for you. And then the syndicate one, it's like a mix of those two, but they're trying to find the best way to propel humanity forward without an outstanding government like the cult or the New Jericho. So it's kind of fun. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a take on dystopian world order in near future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I'm on their website and I looked up like what the game features are. Turn-based strategy, mutating alien threat,
Mhm.
something about geoscaping, challenging
Yeah,
stuff,
so you can
good
move across the-
customization,
Mhm.
good a lot of weapons and stuff, procedurally generated destructible environments, and good missions. So in
Yeah,
layman's
so-
term,
They
So
really
what the-
thought this out, and
What
so
the division should have been.
what the division should have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this, in some of the weaponry, you can free aim. You don't have to have line of sight to shoot at something.
Oh. Okay.
So if you think there's an enemy behind a wall, and you have a gun that can shoot through walls or blow apart a wall to give you line of sight, you can go into that unit, take control, look at the wall, and press the fire. And it's not like XCOM where it's like a 50% to hit type of thing. It's a ring, and then a smaller ring inside that, and those rings have like 50% chance to hit. Each bullet is generated with a different area of effect in that ring. So you want to get as much as the enemy in those rings as it possibly can.
yeah.
I mean, no, it definitely feels like they thought out the mechanics of it, if it's even gone so far as as with the aiming and bullet time and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, you also have to remember the guy has been like working on it and gathering a team since the original XCOM was produced.
Fair. So I mean, yeah, time has definitely gone by for him.
Yeah, if XCOM, like
Definitely.
XCOM 1 and XCOM 2, if they had spent like an extra year or so, I could definitely see it getting to this point. You know, like just spend a little bit extra time like finishing it out and making it flawless.
Yeah. Speaking of games, though, I would actually like to take just a second and do a recommendation of anyone who likes the Soul series and games like that.
Hmm.
Um, Sekiro is very fun. It's actually harder than a Souls game, to be honest with you, just because I don't know about everyone else, um, it, but like whenever I play a Souls game, I always rely heavily on the shield as my anti fucky wucky machine. like like if I fuck up, I can at least have the shield. But Sekiro completely takes that away. Is
Right, right.
your samurai thing. Well, you're not really, but Um, so yeah, and you have to rely on this thing called like countering and parrying, and it's so much harder, but definitely worth it. Um, Honestly though, I think we've dragged on. For
I'm
games.
muted.
Anyway.
We dragged on for games a bit, so I
Okay,
think
so here's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. Happy Valentine's Day, guy. Not today. Well, yeah, today.
when this is
Here's what-
uploaded,
What-
it will
what
be
today?
Valentine's Day.
So as of right now, the snow is falling here where I am.
I'm in my basement. I don't
I'd like
know.
to talk about our love lives and what's going on. Funny
Okay.
stories we may have.
Nothing.
I have
I've
plenty.
got nothing.
So I don't know if you want me to start, and I can just go every other since
I hope
have
you know it will be
plenty.
mostly you,
Plug
just
real
because
quick.
It's
most of
probably
us
just gonna
are
be you guys
yeah,
reacting to my
are
dumb
very
stories.
are very heavy introverts, so that's not.
So
I mean, I can
It's
talk a
not
bit about mine if you guys want.
Sure, yeah, no, yeah.
So
No, I mean,
my girlfriend's the square root of -100,
Oh my
which means
god.
she's a 10 and imaginary.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was good.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
anyway,
My
do we want he? There we go. That's better. Is it working now?
I don't know.
Sorry, we're fixing Hoppy's mic.
How's Hoppy's mic broken?
Better.
Oh, that's how Hoppy's
cool
mic.
and good.
No, it's not. But if
What the fuck is going on with my internet? We're on the same fucking Wi-Fi.
True, Hoppy just is a cyborg at this point.
See.
It's our diversity. It's our token
Yeah,
diversity.
we have to. We have to. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
college.
It's like
Gotta get their
college.
diversity in there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
writing things
so
through here.
okay, we have story number 1, I guess, which is my most favorite story to tell. Because for those of you who
Damn.
do not know, shh, Hoppy. For those of you who do not know, I am a 5'10" strong woman. Apparently, someone said I was 6 foot like 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So I was and he's like kind of cute. So it's like let's go get coffee at the library here. And so we go, and nobody fucking told me this guy was like 5'5", 5'6". Like it was crazy. So I'm like literally looking down to speak to this guy, and we're getting coffee, and like the worst part. A, I don't like short guys, but B, he doesn't like whipped cream, which is such a red flag for
Huh?
me. Exactly. I
Yeah,
was like,
no.
what?
It's Mark Zuckerberg. Beware.
Oh,
It is.
I forgot to tell Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. Cool beans. And then, like last week, I was in the library with my friend, and down at the table. But at the table behind us was that 5'6" guy, and it was so funny because my friend he kept asking me about like Tinder and stuff, not knowing that like that guy was one of my Tinder dates, and it was so funny and awkward. But yeah. Anyway, that's story number. Anyone else have a quick story?
Uh, I mean, there was the time that. So, I. All right. Where do I begin on this one? Okay. I had gone to up like in northern Ohio, not really northern Ohio. It was still central, but north for us. Definitely not for you at the moment. But I went up
We're not
and
the same place.
But I went up and I met a girl that I talked to on Tinder back before I deleted it.
Good
But
man.
we went and talked, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I like D&D and like all these things," and I was like, "Oh, really great! This is too great to be true." Well, it was, eh, because we go back and we get to talking some more, and then we keep going, and then I start to like ask questions about D&D. Well, it turns out that was a lie. She she didn't really know so much. Um, and a couple other things. But I was still like, you know what? I get it. I understand that pressure. So we kept letting it go. And then we leave, and she was pretty busy. So I was like, okay, I'll text back some other time. Well, we keep up this pretty continuous like texting conversation for like a week, and then out of nowhere, just drops, just gone.
Get fucked.
Like she has been swallowed by the earth or something.
Ha, that's me. I do that to people.
Sarah,
Trash.
I'm so. You know what I did last night, guys? I was super sad, so I deleted my Tinder and my Bumble account, and I think that is self-improvement, if you ask me.
I
Is
mean, I'd
it?
I'm
agree
gonna
with
be
you.
honest.
until you
You
go
don't think
back.
that's until I go back, but as of right now, I'm over it.
No,
So
no, I definitely think it's a self improvement.
it's such a self-improvement until
But
I
like I
start
said,
getting desperate for attention yet again, and then
A bro
you
moment
get to
though is
You
when
can
I
at least
realized
attract guys. Me trying to attract women.
you
is
can't
a
attract
fucking
guys
nightmare.
because you're not into guys.
I could attract guys. Multiple people have told me I
Hoppy,
came off
did you
very
go to your
fine.
phone?
Yeah, why?
Oh, okay. I could just tell.
That's better. Nah,
Why? Does my
Yeah.
mic sound worse?
Yes,
No.
so much
well,
worse.
yes, but
Okay,
Sounds
so I
better,
sound
but worse.
robotic.
Anyway,
Oh,
and how
okay.
about Gary? Gary, you're the only one that's not single. That is
I'm the only one that's single.
I fucking wish.
What?
Well, I mean, he was single. For
He
Hoppy,
he
what?
was single for like a single minute, and then he was back together. So, any cute and fun stories with the girl?
I mean,
with the old ball and chain.
I can't laugh
Do
at
you guys
that.
get kinky in the sheets or what?
Okay, we're
Yeah.
done.
She wants a
We're
Russian.
done with
not
this
though,
right
because
now.
these stories are scary.
She wants a Russian in the streets
American
and a
in the
gulag
streets
in the
and a
sheets.
Oh, no.
Gulag in the sheets.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna
God,
choke
we
on
had
my
I just
water.
wanna say, if you're listening, Gary's girlfriend, you seem super nice and hi.
Hi. But
She seems high. Jesus.
She doesn't do weed.
No. No.
I mean, I'm just
No.
imagining it now. The role playing. It can get
It can
we
get
all-
intense.
yeah, we all make mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo. I mean,
Jimbo.
it I'm seeing it now in the bedroom. You come in dressed up in like a Soviet uniform. You're like, let me give you a.
Stop
I
talking.
wanna-
I have no idea what's happening, but I hate
Oh my gosh.
everything about it.
Call
I
me
do
Papa.
too.
Papa
So many
Stella.
stories. Okay, so one day I was hanging out with Sam and we're laying in my bed, just like talk. Said, I'm kind of scared that one day you're literally just gonna go into the bathroom and come out in like a gimp suit. And I said, oh what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you could totally rock one. I said, bitch, what? This man was kinky. Oh my.
Whoa.
It's a
Bet you
good
he's into
thing that he
pegging.
got back together with
Megan.
Megan.
No, it's a good thing because I'm not into racist, homophobic, sexist men.
Oh my god!
You
You think I'm kidding, but I'm not.
You wouldn't like any of us then.
Ooh.
You don't understand.
Hey,
You
that's
don't
not your
understand.
secret to give out.
He thinks he can say the N word because he has black friends.
Okay, now that's different.
No, that's nope. I don't
That
like
is
him.
wrong.
No, me neither.
He's
My-
one of
my type
those
is
kind of
tall, and
people.
that's it. Well, tall. Apparently, gingers. Friend Brienne said she thinks I'm into gingers too, but I don't know. Hair's just
Interesting.
hair. I
Well-
change my hair color a lot, so it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah,
I just want to be
always
loved,
felt-
you know?
I always felt a bit back on the crowd with that one because everybody's coming. Even my brother to an extent. Younger brother
Wait,
goes
you
into
have a
school.
brother?
Yeah, younger brother.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forgot he's stupid.
Which one?
Yes, I remember this story of his brother being a complete idiot.
That's
'Cause
like
he
half
told-
the stories.
Yeah, that's the only ones I remember.
But you
no,
know
his
what? I mean,
brother is an absolute buffoon.
I mean,
I'm a buffoon. Have you
I
met
just
me?
it always felt strange when I would like drive him to school because he'd be in like I wouldn't say designer stuff, but you know what I mean, like the modern kind of clothes,
Streetwear.
Right, and I'm going in the
Ew.
same hoodie that I wore the past 2 days, and
I
Dude.
feel that.
and
felt
I
that.
didn't do anything with my hair. Like I combed it, obviously. I'm not a barbarian, but
Was it the
Sometimes
hoodie
I
with the
don't brush my
handprint
hair,
on it?
but, like,
Weren't you a barbarian the last time we played Minecraft? Or not Minecraft, D&D?
yes.
Sorry, I just got onto a Minecraft channel to unsubscribe, and I've just been...
Are you
Yes.
still unsubscribing to people?
Yeah. Let's see how many I've got now. I used to be at like 200.
Yep.
And
God,
you
it
only
doesn't
watch
tell
what,
me.
3?
Okay, no, wrong. I was at 400. I'm now at 386.
You know what? A quick segue. Speaking of D&D, Gary, let us regale them very shortly of of last Friday's encounter where he dives into the water to fetch his golf and gets
Oh,
turned into
yeah.
a mouse.
You can tell that story if you want to. I don't remember
Wait,
it
you
too
guys
well.
have a D&D session going on?
Mitchell
Yeah.
does. I just showed up to it
I
twice.
don't. I've never played D&D before. But I
Well,
want to be
there's
like
5 of us.
Friday
We're
Project
gonna play
D&D!
D&D.
Can we
No.
please?
That'd be
no,
awesome.
Who's
no,
DMing?
No.
What do you mean no?
No, you know
I'm
why?
not.
I'll
Because I don't
DM.
have enough
I'll
time.
do it.
Do you know how busy I am in college? You know how committed
No!
I'm
You literally
overcommitted.
said you weren't gonna leave
I'm
your dorm
literally-
today!
It's because I'm depressed.
That sounds like you're
We're all
not busy to
depressed.
me!
Well,
Sarah,
take a
let's go get therapy.
fluoxetine then.
Oh, what?
Right now.
Let me just-
Fluoxetine.
Pop a
It's-
Xan and go,
No,
and go
not a
on
Xan.
my day.
No, dead ass. It's one of the things that I take for depression. Fluoxetine really
I
works.
need to go to therapy. Happy and I are gonna go to therapy one day.
The Friday Project Therapy!
Therapy session.
Feelies and wheelies.
Wheelies give me feelies.
Question. So on the side of these headphones, there's like this little thing that I can like roll around. What is that? Is that
I
volume?
can't see my tears if I roll
Oh my
it
god, it is the
fast enough.
volume. I'm a genius.
Who are you?
What? No, let me tell you. My physics homework today, and I got a lot of it done myself, and every time I got really sad, I looked up for background. I pinned one of my physics quizzes to my ceiling so I can fall asleep staring at it for inspiration, and I look at it for inspiration, and it made me not cry, and it made me really good at physics today.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
I
Some-
have
some
class
people
every
do.
day of the week.
Me too.
Yep.
Well, you
I
have
mean, it's
Saturday,
not
Sunday
as-
classes?
No, every day of the week. I mean, regular.
The
5
regular.
days. Yeah. But the downside is I have work after class each day, which
Mhm.
I will say this about work. Obviously, nobody really wants to go to go into work, especially at this point in the life. But I mean, I can't really complain. It's a mile away from where I live. I could
A
walk
mile.
if I really wanted to.
Why
And
don't you? It's walking's good.
true. But it also pays weekly, so
That's nice.
and it does payments in a direct deposit, so I don't even need to
Oh.
like.
All
go to my-
jobs do that now.
No, Tim Hortons does not.
all of them do
No,
not.
Tim Hortons does
All
not.
of them
Because Tim
do not.
Hortons is fucking garbage.
Yes,
Okay?
Tim Hortons is garbage. It should stay in Canada.
I hate Tim Hortons.
Wait, do you
No.
understand him?
So not.
I was like, how do you guys understand him?
Did you move to your? Did you move
Well,
off of your phone, or did your phone just get worse?
My phone because clearly my internet is
What?
having
Or you?
Okay, does anyone speak robot?
Beep boop
Okay,
bop boop.
Ching chong, ching chong.
That is not.
correct. Not correct. Incorrect.
Oh. Well, I mean,
Hold on. with me.
that actually is a good segue into the fact that I want to talk about. There's been some really great strides. First of all, I got to tell you, I love Japan.
Oh god.
Just so he can make fun of him a bit later. Let's see where this
No,
goes.
but I gotta tell you, I love Japan, especially for the fact that in recent news with them, they've gotten because they've since the late '80s they've been like a beacon for robotics and engineering, and recently I'm trying to remember how how long ago this was. They started a new program for like young and upcoming engineers and technicians. I don't know. I think that was really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds really fucking cool.
You guys hear about
Actually.
was it Toyota? I think it was Toyota's Woven City, um, where they're pretty much making a city at the base of Mount Fuji, in wherever Mount Fuji is. I think it might be China.
It's just
Or
what?
it's Japan.
I don't think that's correct.
I'm geographically challenged.
You're just challenged.
Yeah, yeah, that too. But no, they're going like fully automated houses, and they're testing self-driving cars in like a controlled environment and going pretty much full on smart. And that's pretty much what their R&D department is for cars now. Is people are like 2,000 people are gonna end up living there, and they're all
Yep.
gonna be working for Toyota as R&D. And
Yeah, no,
they're
Very
also
cool.
testing like AI, smart houses, smart cars. Not like the brand smart, because those are
like,
dumb.
yeah.
But, the whole thing.
Like, I like Japan, but boy, let me tell you what. You know who I like more?
The
America?
Oscars.
Oh, that's
You know what? Yeah, you know what? We'll use that as a segue.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
real question here. Real question. Does anyone here actually care about the Oscars?
I have
I-
never
I-
ever
No,
watched the
don't even
Oscars
know.
before.
Isn't it tonight?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not tonight. Isn't it
Let-
tonight,
let me tell
February
you
9th?
why
This is
I-
when we're recording this. Not tonight. This is when it's posted.
Isn't this isn't
Let
this
me tell
5 days
why-
ago?
Wait, I gotta defend my position. I gotta
Wait,
defend
hold on.
my
Let me
position.
let me look up the nominees because I heard they came
There they
out.
are.
I don't or what they are.
There they are.
Oh,
I have 'em.
thank you.
They take place
This
February
isn't
9th.
Isn't the
Yeah, it's
Oscars,
tonight.
Isn't,
It's
isn't
tonight
the
at 8.
Oscars more than just one whatever this is?
Yes, but those are just best pictures, which is what I was.
Oh, okay. Who do we think is going to win Best Picture? Personally, I really love The Joker. I thought it was very well done, but a
Mhm.
lot of people say 1917 has a really good shot because of its cinematography
Dear
and how
God,
it's all one cut.
1917.
Jojo Rabbit, definitely. That's the
No.
one
Jojo
that's gonna
Rabbit,
win.
I don't think it should.
What
win.
even is Jojo Rabbit? I've never heard of that.
It's
The
a
one where the
Nazi
kid joins
comedy.
the Nazi.
Oh, it's that one?
Nazis.
Yes.
I wanted to see that so bad.
It
was
was so fun.
really
It
good.
was
You know,
fun. It was it was
I-
funny.
if we're talking in terms of cinematography in that category, 1917 is definitely going to win that one.
Yeah.
I believe.
1917 has a really good chance for winning
Yeah,
Best
best
Picture.
picture, and for
Personally,
good
I
reason.
do believe it should be between 1917 and Joker, just because they both movies, like everyone I've talked to that's seen it has such an impact on them.
Yeah.
Like Joker just really focused on mental health. Like it really brought up
And
the
you know,
And that's
I'm
why
gonna
I
mention
like
this too.
Jack's
I'm gonna
swing
throw this
stance.
one in there. One of the other best pictures I think that has a really good chance is The Irishman.
I've
Like,
never seen The Irishman.
I mean, I'm not gonna, like give a breakdown of the
Mirror
movie or
Story
anything.
is on here. That I've never seen that, but it's on Netflix. I heard it was really good.
Yeah, no, Irishman's a
All
Netflix
have
movie.
Netflix, so watch it.
Well,
But
shut
anyway,
up.
all you need to know really. So it's written by Scorsese, all right.
hmm
Oh, Ford v Ferrari's on there? I didn't even notice that.
But anyway,
Oh,
The
Liz,
Irishman.
how did you miss that?
I haven't looked at it until now.
Why must you always do this, you absolute baboon?
Wow, that's Gary's line. Stop that.
All right. Anyway,
I like to drink
The
my beer
Irishman
butt.
is about um, post-war America, post-World War II America, organized crime, specifically in the New York kind of area. Um, but like it's got the big names to do like Italian mafia. Like it's got Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci.
Okay. Not to be really off topic, but I'm looking at all of 17s in a lot of categories, so they have a potential to sweep. I know that that happens a lot, but so is Joker, and
Yeah.
they both are just. I just love those two movies so much. Like I would watch Joker over and over
Like
again.
I'm being honest, for best director, I definitely think Sam Mendes should win. He was the director of 1917.
That movie put together, like I wanted to
Yeah.
cry. Like no, just because of the cinematography. Granted,
Yeah.
this it's a very hopeful and like sad story, but like it was just so well done and how it's all literally done in two like cuts of like you know what I mean.
And I'm gonna be honest, Martin Scorsese, as good as The Irishman was, like it was truly a marvel of cinematography. Not just cinematography, but just acting in general.
Same
Oh,
thing with everyone
oh,
podcast.
the Irishman. Oh, that's the one where they made the two guys young for the whole movie.
Yeah,
Yep, that's why it's a contender for best VFX.
but the thing is, Martin Scorsese, I don't know. He has some opinions that I disagree with, like personally about certain movies, but I do think that, you know, he definitely has. But might I mention this as well? He has a a pretty good track record of mafia style movies. Like he did
Yeah.
Goodfellas,
Oh,
but I don't know. Like as good of a director as he is, and I'm not
has
saying he's
anyone seen
not.
Parasite? Sorry to.
No,
Has
it's
anyone seen Parasite?
it's an
What's it about?
international one. I don't really remember, but
Uh,
Oh, look at that.
I believe someone said
Interesting. It looks
who
super
I
interesting.
talked to recently. They said it was about a family that like takes on multiple identities in this one house or something like that. But but yeah, just what I'm saying is, as you know, as successful and great as Martin Scorsese is, Sam Mendes, I think, has to win this one because that not only the technical difficulty, but the sheer vision in doing it. But yeah,
Okay.
what are our thoughts on Best Actor
Best
nominees?
actor. Actor in a leading role or supporting?
We'll go leading role and then supporting.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Again, I am very freaking biased, but I can never pronounce his name, Mr. Phoenix.
Oh, Joaquin.
Oh,
Joaquin
okay. I
Phoenix.
just
If he does not win, like I'm
Oh yeah,
probably literally gonna throw a fit because his acting was phenomenal. Like I'm not kidding. Like I was genuinely like health can be super hard to act and like portray, especially something like this, like the Joker having him being such a disturbed and like different kind of mental background, especially being a villain who's just literally insane and has no regard for consequences.
yeah.
And sometimes that can be like a really hard thing to like, act
yeah.
out. So I don't know, I really want him to win.
I think
Also,
he did.
forgot Antonio Banderas existed.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I
Spy
was
Kids.
I was really happy that
wait,
Adam
that's Spy
Driver.
Kids guy?
That's the
Oh,
Spy
it's-
Kids dad.
Oh, I didn't
I'm
know
trying
that.
to have
Oh
a
my
serious
God, you're right.
conversation.
And I'm talking about the Spy
talking
Kids
about
dad.
the
I haven't said a
Spy
word in
Kids
about
dad.
10 minutes.
You're
Spy
not talking. You're yelling.
Where's Ellie
Spy
to
Kids
go?
dad is nominated for an actor in a leading role, and I've
So
never
I
been
just
more proud of my childhood.
so I just read the plot of the Parasite.
I did too.
Yeah. So it's essentially this really poor family the father gets a chance to teach one of either the mother or the daughter of a rich family because of his connections to the father of that family.
Okay.
And so he has to pose as a college student to teach there. Um, they then slowly start taking over um, the driver, the housekeeper, like gardener, and all those other positions. Like they just find ways to get them fired and then take their position under a different identity.
Okay. That's
So
super
it's kind of
freaking
like,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I not know it existed?
It
Well,
was
it is Korean.
it's a Korean movie that was kind of a muted release in America.
Yeah.
I
I
figured,
saw a
but it
few.
just
I
sounds
saw a
super
few.
cool.
I saw a few.
I saw like
Ads.
2 or 3 ads
Yeah,
for it.
that was about
You
it.
know what? I'm gonna say this too. For best actor, as much as I do want, Joaquin Phoenix to win, and I do think he deserves to win,
It does.
I really do appreciate that Adam Driver is on that list.
Me too.
From
'Cause
Marriage
I
Story.
haven't seen Marriage Story. I've heard from everybody that it's incredibly like it's
Because
just
I feel like
like the
in a
whole
way he's been
basis
kind
of
of
it is
shafted.
super. Yeah, because like with the whole Star Wars thing, it's easy to get like portrayed as like I'm this type of actor, like I'm a villain or I'm a good guy. And with this, it's like something super different than Star Wars, and it really shows him in a different light,
Mhm.
which I love seeing from actors. I hate seeing over and over and over again.
And let me tell you what, Jonathan Pryce is one of the most. I noticed this too. Pretty much all of my favorite actors outside of not only outside but even including American actors are older British men with a background in traditional Shakespearean theater. It's my opinion, but I think that that's what makes an actor truly shine sometimes is that background in traditional theater.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jonathan Price is no exception. But the reason I just appreciate him so much, I'll give you some roles he's known for. Anybody ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
I have.
Yeah, he's Elizabeth's dad. He's
Oh,
also
yeah.
he's in Game of Thrones. He's the High Sparrow,
Mm.
but you won't see that later because you said you're at the start of what season 4 right now, Sarah?
Of Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you'll see that later in season 4.
Okay.
Um,
Well, now we should segue somewhere else. You know,
yeah.
get more people talking. Anyone have any fun college stories? Except for Elliot. Elliot could have high school stories.
Ah.
Nerd.
Welcome to the big boy
Laughs in
club.
college.
Anybody at all.
Yeah, actually.
I have a lot, but that's just because
Uh,
I'm a crackhead. So I do a
I
lot
mean,
of stuff.
same, but mine is more. It, I don't know. It was just kind of a strange thing. It was a week ago on Monday, and they're in the building. And Gary, you've been in Davidson Hall, right? For
Probably. I don't
yeah.
remember it, but yeah.
By the way, I guess to throw out for any low listeners, I'm doing 2 years at Columbus State Community College, and then transferring to Ohio State.
You
But
should transfer to.
yeah,
I'm not
actually,
biased at all, though. So,
I'm not gonna lie, I am actually considering that
which major do you want to go for? Like, what's your
history,
about
which is why I'm considering
history?
it because
Okay.
Toledo does have a very good program.
Oh, we do. I didn't know that.
Me neither. I just know that we're good at engineering and medical stuff.
Except all the CSE professors are leaving.
Living apart, but it's fine. I digress.
But anyway, so basically Davidson Hall is like where all of the math stuff goes on, and we were in math class Monday, and all of a sudden it sounds like what I guess is the fire alarm like
Oh
goes
no.
off, and they go over like the loudspeaker, and they're like, "This is not a drill. Everyone evacuate the building." So
Well,
we do, and of course, being college students, no one gives a shit. We all do it in a quite leisurely fashion. But like it very quickly like escalates because once we all get out there, like campus police is already there, and they're like pushing through the crowd and just charges in the building, and then like a few minutes later, Columbus police show up, a fire truck shows up, and then a helicopter shows up, and the building was closed for like 40 minutes about, and like all of us who were in the building are just sitting out in front of it. And at first people were like, "Is it a bomb threat?" And I'm like, "Well, considering that they haven't had us move, I don't think so." But I mean,
Ah,
honestly,
yes. Let's watch the
we still don't know what it
fireworks.
was about. Not even the professors know what it was about.
Well, we had a similar incident happen here. For those of you who do not know, I go to the University of Toledo in Toledo, Ohio.
you say
It's
I
time.
like I also don't go to the same
Happy
fucking school.
You were on
college
academic
classes.
probation. You practically
So,
don't.
oh
I-
shit.
Just because I'm on academic probation don't mean
Listen.
shit.
In this chat, we have the spectrum. You have me, the 4.0 kid, and then you have the academic probation kid, which is Hoppy.
Just because first semester kicked my ass don't mean shit.
Well, it's just opportunity to improve yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know you will. Hoppy's a smart guy.
well, when was this, Hoppy? Was it Thursday? It was Thursday, I think.
Nathan,
Thursday.
when was Wolf on Fire?
I think it was Thursday.
Thursday?
This past Thursday.
All right, Nathan says Thursday.
We get this text and it says everyone needs to evacuate like Wolf Hall and Bominati. And Bominati is just like an attached lab on Wolf Hall. And this is like all both like science buildings. And we it was so weird. And like I called my friend who had a lecture like those buildings and she said, yeah, there's like people in hazmat suits and stuff, and nobody knew what was going on. The building was closed for like 4 or 5 hours, I think. I'm not entirely sure about the time frame, and they were like telling
God.
everyone to like avoid the area. And so I think what happened from what I've gathered is that someone spilled a beaker, but they didn't know what was in the beaker. Which, first off, if you're in a lab and you don't know what's in your beaker, maybe you should not be doing a lab.
Yeah, maybe you should not be touching them.
But secondly, like, and it just started emitting smoke, and like they wanted to just get everyone out for like safety reasons. They had hazmat go in there to make everything was okay. But the cool part about our science buildings is that they have like I don't know what exactly it's called. It's like an airtight seal thing. So like if something happens on the fourth floor with like a gas or something, it's like like it keeps it
Airlock.
quarantined. Yeah, it airlocks to the fourth floor, so it won't go throughout the whole building. Which I didn't know until this happened, but we do that. So yeah, our school's caught on fire too.
Hmm. Well, that's the thing. We don't know if that was a fire. I actually have no idea what that was. No one really does.
I guess the last thing that remotely happened that was like back it was last semester. And we were having a STEM club meeting and some random girl came in and she had a poster and some other girl. They were both African American or
Mm.
that of that color. They're both
Yeah,
women of
yeah.
color. I'm trying to be respectful because this is kind of like an interesting topic. But they came in and they started like yelling about like racial inequality and racism and stuff, right? And then they start calling out my academic advisor and one of the students by name. They were like, Ethan, we know you're racist and you won't hide it anymore. And I'm just sitting there with everyone else who's there for the STEM meeting, confused as all heck. And then eventually they just stop talking. And one of the other academic advisors is like, okay, well, and she handled it amazingly. Like, honestly, this was probably the best way it could have been handled. But she was just like, oh yeah, so we've heard your part, so how about you sit down and you can join us for our meeting, and then we can talk about it more afterwards. Um, and while she was doing that, the academic advisor that was called out by name ran out, went and got campus security, um, and then she was like talking to them. And then eventually the person picked up a really big Bluetooth speaker, started playing some song. I don't know what the song was, because you couldn't understand it. It was like
Was it good?
no, it was like generic like rally the people music.
Oh.
Um, oh, and this whole time
Um,
she was like stuttering during her rant because she was reading off her phone.
She's
And
like,
then
"You're racist," and
then she goes because it's in one of the auditoriums, and she goes up to the doors at the back, or it's in the lecture hall. And she goes to the doors in one of the back, and then we actually start on our meeting. And then eventually, like 5 minutes after we start, you just hear a loud thud, right? And that's because she was taken to the ground by campus security. And the big thud was the speaker falling. And then she's like, I didn't break a law. And in my head, I'm like, there's security. You don't need to break a law. You can get kicked out for no reason.
Yeah.
And then she got kicked out. And then we got an email like the next day that was like, if you see her on campus, tell campus police because she's not allowed to be there anymore.
Oh shit.
So
get wrecked.
whoever that was got officially kicked off campus.
Awesome.
And then
Tasties.
there are so many different things. Like Mitchell, I don't know if you remember last semester, but the one guy with the big sign talking about Christianity and
Oh
stuff
my God,
that
that guy-
started a mob.
Yes.
Dude rolls up, right? I'm coming out of my English class, and I go down and stand like right in front of the big I guess what would you call it? Plaza area? Not plaza. Courtyard.
You mean yeah? Near
Right in
Columbus
front of
Law,
Nestor. Or,
Yeah.
right in between
Yeah,
Nestor.
yeah, right in front of Nestor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And there's this dude standing there with a big sign that was talking about like sinners beware and all that stuff like that. And there was a mob at least 100 people around him, right?
Oh, it
And
was,
there
it
was
such
some
a good
dude,
pickup spot.
some dude in yellow Crocs trying to fight him. There was like 8 people holding him back, and I was watching the whole thing, just from
They
like.
came to our school too. They were like so like anti-abortion and stuff like that, and so they were passing around. I guess. I
No,
don't
it
know
was
what they
just
did.
one guy.
Oh no, we had like I think it was a few people that came
Well,
to
the
Toledo.
anti-abortion was there
I was
too.
in class. But there's a story about this guy who apparently they were passing around a mic. So this guy's friends dared him to like say something really funny. So he got the mic and he said, "Bro, I'm just trying to get my kill streak up, bro. I just want a UAV." What? He's like, "UAV, bro."
No,
Look, man, I just
Like,
want
oh
my
my-
UAV.
But one of my old friends that I haven't been really able to talk to for a while. He was eventually after the mob had been going for about an hour. People were getting tired of it because it was blocking the main way to school buildings.
Yeah, no, it was.
So then like 8 or 10 students come out and start chanting the Krusty Krab is unfair. And like that whole segment from SpongeBob. And then I Snapchatted one of my friends who I knew went to C State about it. I'm like, dude, look at this mob that's out front of Nestor. And he's like, oh yeah, I was in it, and then sent me a picture of like the Krusty Krab unfair sign. And I'm like, oh, you were one of those people? But eventually I was like, and then I went to oh, I remember why I was there, why I didn't go home, is because I had a meeting with my academic advisor. And then we were talking about it, and she's like, oh yeah, I hate it when people do that. Because the campus police can't do anything about it until someone starts throwing hands.
Yeah.
Because it's a public campus. And it's public property. But once he went inside a building, he couldn't. Like, if he's inside one of the buildings, he can't. But as long as he's, like, outside, he's fine. It was just really hilarious and annoying because there's, like, the inner ring of the mob, and then there was, like, about 50 feet out, an outer ring of people just watching.
Yeah.
Just scattered around campus. It was really fun. Not really. It was funny. But yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I remember when the abortion people came on campus, and then
I was
come
there.
out-
I pretty much like walked in, saw the sign, and just walked to class. I wasn't
Yeah.
dealing with that.
I got stopped both times, and I was like, "Listen, I don't have time for that." And of course, some head ass on the way out. I'm leaving the library because I was just like, "All right, I'm gonna hole up here," you know, hoping that it would be over. By the time I had to go to the next class, it was not. But so I crossed through again.
Ah, shoot. This is bad. Why is it so bad?
Because it's like clearly this person just clearly this person just saw this and was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go." Like it was clearly a sign that they went to the library for like for like 5 minutes and was like, "I gotta protest today."
Okay. You remember when the petition people
Yo.
were on campus?
Oh, I
Dude,
hated when they
literally
came to our campus. It was so.
The-
we
the
literally
last-
would just yell at them.
the last string of petition people were so needy for
They were
petition
like,
signatures.
you feed my wife and kids, and I'm like, oh yeah, where are they from? They're like California. I'm like, you are in Ohio, like homie.
Yeah.
Dude, literally, like, one of them, I was walking, it's a Friday morning, right? I'm going to my, first year experience class. And literally, I'm walking there. I have my headphones on because I was just, like, walking. That's what I do. I slat walk everywhere. And then, dude walks up to me. I'm like, oh, this dude's a petition person. And he's like, and I automatically, like, shake my head no. But then he keeps talking to me. So I take my headphone off. I'm like, what do you want? And I'm already mad because he's still talking to me. He's like, you need to sign, or no, he looks at me in the eyes. He's like, it's a new one. Which already means he knows that I don't want to sign it. And then I'm like, no, I'm not signing it. And then he held out a pen to me and said, yes. And then I said no, and then he said yes again, and then I said leave me alone, and I kept on walking. And then the other dude that was trying to get signatures was literally jumping out of his lawn chair
I
and
know.
full on sprinting to people to get their signatures. It
Oh, I
was
hated it.
hilariously painful.
I hated every second of it.
And then
I-
like
I
half of my
remember-
friends and I were like, "Oh, let's just start saying I'll sign your petition if you sign my petition," and it was gonna be a petition to stop petition people.
Like I remember at a certain point after I signed it like the third
Oh
time,
my god.
just to get them out of my hair, I started giving out fake names and
Oh,
address.
I never put down.
Yeah, I never
I
signed
always
it.
put down like fake
They
names. but,
never
like,
approached me.
It's
how
because
did
you're
you
too
know?
short. They couldn't see you.
Oh, shut the
Oh.
fuck up.
I always put like my school address down, so like if they send stuff, always go to my high school.
I'll
Yeah.
just get some random. I'll write down some random address. And if it's one, well, they get random mail.
Hi, could you please send this petition to 1234? Go fuck yourself.
I wonder if they actually like count to see how many are fake or not, and like, or they just need like actual like just names on a line. Because I'm like, if you just need names on a line, you could just do it yourself.
Yeah, honestly.
Hi, Papa.
That's his cat.
Did your Russian father just
That-
come into the
no,
room?
that's his cat.
Oh, I know. I know.
was saying
Hello,
that for
Papa.
Sarah and Hoppy's sake.
Oh, Papa.
Hello,
Hey,
Papa.
Hello,
Poppy.
Papa.
Poppy, Poppy.
Stop.
Stop. Please.
Hoppy,
Stop.
stoppy. Poppy, stoppy.
Poppy happy means
It's time to stoppy. All right.
okay.
All right.
But yeah, we're
Stop
closing
you.
in on an hour now.
Alright.
Alright, so are we wrapping it up then?
I'd
Just
say we
five.
probably should.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Uh,
Is that what you do? Is that what you do? Smash the like
Smash
button.
that like button like you
Subscribe and
smash
hit
your
that
wife.
bell for
Oh
notifications
no!
every
No, take it
Friday.
back. Take that back right now.
Okay.
Don't look at me like
It
that,
has been
Nathan.
revoked.
We're trying to get
Taken back.
some scribbles.
Ugh, good.
Guys, I have bad news.
Anyway, what?
Yeah.
I had the recording paused the whole time.
Are you serious?
No.
I
You
thought you
idiot!
snapped
Why
your
would I
neck.
have the timestamp if I paused it the whole time?
I don't know.
I didn't think that far ahead.
No one thinks that far ahead,
I
except for
was
Elliot.
just-
Elliot
Hello.
probably saw through that.
Yep.
I'm
Elliot's
sitting here like,
smart and tall. Oh
Andy
my
knows
gosh,
me.
Happy Valentine's Day. to
No,
me.
no, it's more because he's
Focus
a
on your
minor. He's a minor.
like
Focus on your
crazy.
major, not your minor.
He's a senior, but he's still a minor.
Focus on your major, not your minor.
Yeah.
The
Can I
only
get that
league I
tattooed on my
play in is
ass?
in
Oh my
Little League.
Okay, I'm
So
cutting
I'm
this
gonna
whole
go eat
last part.
dinner,
See you,
but,
Elliot.
when I get back, we could play League.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.